two different things. Hello, hello. I am going live. We are going live on Instagram, and it always takes a little bit longer.
It always does a little bit on Instagram.
I know, it's so, I can't wait for them to fix it. So, welcome to this new interview series that I am so excited to launch with Dr. Lauren Brunglick today. They are called Love and Legacy, Women Who Have It All and How You Can Have It Too. Today, we are having with us, as I said before, Dr. Lauren Brunglick, because she's just a fantastic human being and she's super talented as well. She's, as you know, she's a doctor, so she has the smarts, she has the brains and the willpower. And she's an entrepreneur. She's also a podcast host. She's a coach. And more importantly, above all for this series, is she is a wife and a mom. And she's just an extraordinary human being. She's so authentic. She's one of those women on my Instagram feed that I always look forward to see what she's posting because she's just hilarious and so honest and real. And I don't know how you do it, but keep doing it.
Oh, thank you. Okay, yeah.
And thank you so much for being here. And the intention of this conversation with Dr. Lauren, it's about talking about her love life. You know, I am Natalia Hart. I am a dating and relationship coach. And I hear it here and there from women that are successful, that have businesses, that are making 6, 7, 8 figures, and they are single, and they really don't know how to make it work for their love life. They have the desire of meeting a great guy and to create legacy in this way through family, but they are so busy with their career and maybe they have been hurt in the past. They really don't know how to do it. So the intention for these interviews is to inspire and to really try to show that it is doable. And if I know Lauren enough, she's going to show the messy parts because she's not afraid to talk about everything. I love that. But so I pass you the mic, and if I miss something you want to say about you or your businesses, that this is the moment to say it.
No, I think you did great. I think the only thing that's kind of missing is like, my background is I became a chiropractor and then started a business right away out of school. So that's kind of a unique thing about chiropractors. You know, they're more like dentists where you don't just go work for a hospital. Like you have to run a business, you have to market yourself, you have to learn all of that. And so we did that. I had babies while owning my own practice, had maternity leaves where I went back after 6 weeks with my first and after 5 weeks with my second.
Oh, wow.
And just my husband and I and our babies, we were just in like from age 24 to like 30, just like really in a stage of like, just grow the business. And then, kind of, obviously there was some burnout stuff that started to happen with that, as you can imagine. And so we started to get really intentional about our marriage, our core values, what we're building. And we definitely do not have it all figured out, but I would say that we are definitely in a place where we are having more sex than we did in our 20s. Like we love each other more than the day we got married. And we've now, because of that, been able to, now we have multiple businesses. And so, and our kids are now 10 and 12. And yeah, so that's kind of the only background is like now I do more podcasting. I'm still a chiropractor, but we do real estate. I have courses, I have memberships, all sorts of things.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So let's go back a little bit in history. And I hear you that you met when you were very young. You and
Yep,
your
we
husband.
met in college. So yeah, we were
Okay.
21. Mhm.
Wow. And did you have any system, any idea of how to pick the right man?
No, it
Be-
was college. So this is funny because I talk to my friends who are, have multiple businesses, high-level entrepreneurs, and but they live like on the East Coast or in Florida or, and they're just like, "You got married at what age?" And I was like, 24. We got married at 24. And they're like, "How did you like?" But in the Midwest, that's what you do. Like, you find a spouse in college and you marry them. Like, it's not weird at all in the Midwest.
Right.
So yeah, so I know that is just a little bit of a culture difference too, because like again, I talk to friends on the East Coast and they're like, "Oh no, your 20s, you're not even thinking about settling down. Like 30s is when you start to actually look." Um, but we just had a friend that I had no strategy at all. I was coming off of a 4-year relationship. This guy was supposed to be a rebound, to be honest. So I was going in like not looking for marriage, just looking to like get over the heartbreak of the guy I thought I was going to marry, like leaving me. And
Oh,
so I had a friend who was like, "Hey, you're going to school in Minneapolis. I have a high school friend who's in Minneapolis. I think he could be a good rebound." And he turns out he was an amazing husband. So
oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. So when you went through that heartbreak,
mhm.
do you believe that going through that really, really shifts you in ways like really made you more aware of what you really wanted? And did you learn some things that you were like, okay, I did this, maybe I overgive a little bit. Maybe I am not sure. Maybe I
Right.
made it a lot about him and I'm not going to do that. Did you notice
Right.
anything that you did different? So the second one worked?
I learned that I was too much woman for him. Like
Okay.
I had, and like not, I mean, we were like 18 when we got, originally. So like, both of us had so much growing to do. But like ultimately, when I look back, all of my friends and family were very relieved because they're like, "You have so much ambition. It would have been very threatening to him. It would not have worked." And so that is something that is definitely something my husband and I, we've now been married. We'll be married 15 years this year. And like that
Yes.
is something that we work through together of like he is I don't know, for people who are like Enneagram types, like so he is an Enneagram 9. He is very just like peaceful, he's nurturing to our daughters, he is content, but he's also incredibly smart. Like he was like valedictorian, almost a perfect SAT score, like just really really smart, but he's just very fulfilled in his heart with like he comes from a farming family, and just like I don't think he would have farmed, but like just such a cliche, a farming family where the dad's also a pastor, right? Like so it's just like just this very wholesome feeling. And then I'm an Enneagram 3, which are like high achievers, just like if we have a hobby, we turn it into a business. Like we are just constantly only comparing up and like growth, growth, growth. And so we have to, when we went through a period where we were getting marriage therapy, and that was what I remember on, it was like either the first or second appointments with the guy, that he said that like when you get married, all of like everything you want, it's no longer what you want and what he wants. You have to come together and it's what both of you want. And I'm not a crier, but tears are streaming down my face when he says this. And he's like, "You don't seem to be receiving that well." But when when you have two people in a relationship where one is content with life and like good for them, they're zen, they're happy, I'm so happy for you, but they don't want for much. They have a house, children, love, we're good. And then you have another spouse that is always striving for more. So when you have a therapist telling you that you have to come in the middle, like that's what a marriage is, all I hear is that I have to want less, or all I heard at the time was I have to make myself smaller, because to meet him in the middle, I have to want less. Like if I want 10 times more than he wants, that means I have to only want 5 times, and so he explained that my thinking was completely wrong. Is that together we should always be able to accomplish more, not less. And so that helped. But yeah, that was a really big moment in our marriage where I thought like, shit. So to be a good wife, I can never achieve as much as I could if I was on my own. And like I said, the therapist really cleared that up, that like, nope, you're thinking about this wrong. Together, you should be able to accomplish more.
I love that. I love that. I think that is the core of these conversations, that you hear at the core that when we are with the right person, how our life expands and it's so much better in every single aspect. And it's like 100 and 100, and then you get together and it's like 1,000. Like
Yes.
regular math doesn't really apply. And so would you mind to share a little bit how your life got better by being married than you ever thought? Of course, you have your
Right.
2 kids, and that's a given.
So it's interesting because like prior to, I wasn't always so career driven. Prior to graduating from chiropractic school and right before getting married, all I wanted to do was have a little practice that paid our bills and to have children. Like I wanted to have children so bad. And I remember my mother-in-law just being like, you guys just are getting married. Like, don't rush into having kids, like live your life. And I'm like, we don't have any money to live our life. We might as well have our kids now. Like what? I'm starting a practice. Like we're not going on vacations. And like having children just filled this, like just my ovaries, right? Like, but then what started to happen is as I had like the husband and the great clinic and the children, that's when like, when you have that foundation of safety and you have all of your needs met, then that's where this safe place to start dreaming about other things, right? Like, so I think if at ever any point my marriage was on the rocks or my relationship with my children started to suffer, I would have abandoned everything in a heartbeat. But because things were safe, because he was there with the kids, like I could go on work trips, like, and so we had this really good balance that just really, really worked. So it has allowed for our kids to feel like mom's not always working. Our kids they'll say things like, I'm just so thankful that mom works so hard so that we can go on family vacations and that we can like live the life that we do. And so, but we just have conversations like that. Like we don't talk, if my husband was being like, oh, your mom works too much, that would reframe my kid's perspective of it. And so it's just that partnership. Like I can't imagine, like he's the first person I call when something goes wrong. He's the first person I call when something goes right. Like he is my best friend. So I can't imagine. And when you have businesses, like nobody's going to care. Well, in a healthy relationship, I should say, nobody's going to care about your business as much as you do, except for your spouse. And nobody's going to care about your kids as much as you do, except for their father. And I know it can't be of every father, but like, and so just having that person that like, I know cares about the things I care about as much as I do is just 100% trust.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is very beautiful. And how, so you have businesses together, or he has his own things and you have your own things and then you come together? How does it work?
So he manages our real estate portfolio and our investing.
Okay.
And then I am the CEO of our two businesses that bring in 95% of our income. But he's the COO of and the CFO of basically both of those businesses. And so I am the visionary, I am the talent, but he's the one behind the CEO making sure that like because I don't know how to do tech stuff. Like I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Like I don't know how to do anything with money. I'm like, I don't know how the money when they pay me, it gets into my account and then pays for a purse. I don't know how any of that works. And so he really manages that side of the businesses.
I love it. I love it. It seems to be traditional masculine energy, feminine energy. He takes
Mhm.
care of the finances. I think that's that it works so well with women because we can be very creative and just create a lot of prosperity. But for some of us, the money aspect can be super draining and stressful.
Yeah.
And for guys, for a healthy masculine energy man, that comes naturally. So I love that you did it. This is this something that you put any thought? Was it difficult for you to handle
He
the
has a degree in finance. So
oh,
like
oh,
yeah, so it was like, there you go. Yeah, but you're right.
good.
No, and I'm glad you brought up like that feminine energy aspect too, because that was a big thing that we had to work through running businesses. Even if you're in the visionary creative mode of CEO, running businesses is very masculine. It's
Right.
very masculine energy. And especially, I'm caring for patients. And so you just come home and you just had to like make all these decisions all day long and you like bring this masculine energy into your home. But and then like what women where a lot of like love lives, happen where it's like, okay, and I have a lot of friends who run very high, like makes 8 figures, right? And a couple glasses of wine and we're like, so like how often do you guys have sex? And like and they're just like, oh my god, I have no sex drive. These are women in their late 30s, mid 30s, and they just have no sex drive whatsoever. And I had that stage of life, but like I basically had to figure out how to bring that feminine energy back in, because when you're being in your masculine, you it just automatically puts them out of their masculine, right? Because like so where you bring a man into their masculine is by being the feminine.
Right.
But if you're like in your like I'm the boss, I'm the CEO, and you're bringing this masculine energy and you're like, why don't you like kiss me? Like why don't you take me on a date? It just like completely ruins that beautiful like yin and yang that can happen.
Mhm.
And then you're seeing them as even less masculine, so then you're not attracted, but and so I had to really build like create a safe space for him to step into his masculine in a relationship where I'm the breadwinner, where I'm the CEO, I'm the one in charge, I'm the one who makes the decisions on what we're doing on the weekend. But like I still had to figure out like, okay, how do I create a space where he can feel like the safe masculine supporter, even though I'm the breadwinner? And then once he stepped into his masculine, then he was a lot more attracted to me, and so it was just learning. It's just all learning.
Wow, wow. I can see that you have put a lot of thought and energy and love into your relationship. So it is possible to have it all, but it takes to really tend to be tender and to care for those things. They
Mhm.
don't just happen because, as you said, when we are go-getters and we have businesses and all that, it's easy to bring that energy home. So
Mhm.
you really, I can see that you make an effort to kind of shift that energy. Do you have like a practice or how do you do it? Do you have a trick and tip that you could share?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I read romance books.
Oh, I saw that the other day and
Like,
I love it.
life changing. So one, like,
Okay.
as a like Enneagram 3, very, like, driven person, up until my like mid 30s, if you are like, I didn't understand the point of fiction. Like, as like a very high achieving doctor, like you should be learning something. You should be learning something about finance or the body or like growth, or like you should be always reading nonfiction. And fiction really felt like a waste of time. And so I feel like romance novels definitely like it was kind of twofold. Like one, obviously, but it definitely gets things like brewing. But also it just allows you to step out of that, like, what's the point of reading? Like just that like super fight or flight, and just step into like, yeah, I can spend an afternoon 2, 3, 4 hours just sitting and reading and accomplishing nothing, and allowing my brain, so like just my brain healing, that is okay, and I don't need to be producing every minute of every day, is also really healing to the feminine as well. So even
Absolutely.
if romance books aren't your jam, like any kind of fiction for like high achievers, of just learning that like this isn't a waste of time, it actually helps heal your journey.
It's absolutely not a waste of time. Actually, I read a book 20 years ago, I believe, or I don't know, a long time ago, about how to be more better with sex, pretty much.
Mhm.
That was a book about, what was the name? The naughty guide to the nice girl. I can remember.
Ooh, all right.
Oh, I can. I still have it. I don't know where, but I have it. So, and one of the biggest takeaways that that book was giving is that women that have a lot of sex and that enjoy sex and that attract that masculine energy, they do think about sex a lot.
Mm.
And there I was, brand new in a new country, like trying to make my ways, learning a new language, learning everything. I didn't have time to think about sex. I mean, that was the last thing in my. I was trying to survive. And
Right.
I like that you mentioned that a few minutes ago about how once you covered your survival needs and the Maslow hierarchy of needs, you could
Mhm.
start dreaming higher, and your husband supported you and that helped you in
Yeah.
that. So anyway, so what this book was saying, recommending, is reading romance books, like naughty books,
Mhm.
but that automatically makes us think about that,
Mhm.
and that creates. So I don't know where you got the idea, but it's right there, by the book, by a
Yeah.
self-development book.
Yeah, it's definitely a phenomenon that's happening on social media too. I mean,
Oh
I
yes.
was just commenting, we were running into Walmart to grab a couple things, and all of our family is book lovers, and different genres, but and I remember like a year ago, the section of books that like I was more interested in was, 6 feet wide. It's an entire aisle now, like in Walmart, where I'm like, book talk is happening. So they're finding it.
Good, 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 good. Yes. So, tip, if you want to improve your sexual life, read romance novels. And I know
Yes.
it's hard for some women. Like, it was really hard for me to come at peace with that because, I was an intellectual. I was
Mhm.
all about serious stuff. That was not up to my level. But oh my God, that's where the fun is, like.
Yeah.
And okay, so that brings me another question for you. We talked about the sexual part. You are funny. You're
Oh,
very,
thanks.
you're just happy-go-lucky, and it just shows. I really like your personality. Is that something that you cultivated too intentionally, or is that something that you have always been like witty and funny and a little bit
I
sassy?
think I've always been funny. No, I don't know. I'm just direct, and like I don't like stuffy formal communication. Like I couldn't be that if I tried. Um and so I don't think I was really like that in high school, but like as I stepped onto more of a stage, like literally of speaking or on social media, and I realized that this part of me is what helped me stand out, and just allowed me to come across more authentic, because that's who I am. And what's great is in comedy, you get to be not perfect, right?
Right.
Like, so it just is like, it allows for embracing it, allows for me to not worry about perfectionism showing up. And then, like, again, you get a couple laughs and you're like, oh, that's fun. It's fun to get laughs on stage and things like that. So
Yeah.
I don't cultivate it by any means, but like the more that it's well received and allows me to like stand out on podcasts and social media and stuff like that, it's like, well, if it comes naturally, I might as well. It'd be really hard to hide it anyways. Like, so if I couldn't drop F-bombs on my podcast, I don't know what I would do. So
I love it. And is your husband funny or he's more?
oh my God, he would say he's the funny one.
Oh,
I think we've asked our children this quite a bit. Who's
oh, yeah.
funnier? They say dad. I think they're biased because like I'm not as funny to them because I like tell them to clean their room. But he and I both love like watching comedy. We love going to live comedy. We love the like structure of a joke. Like, I mean, even just not to get political at all, but we were watching like clips of Trump's like speech the other night, and we're just like, the dude has like the cadence of delivering punchlines like a comedian, where it's just like, what did he just say? Like,
Oh my God.
so we like comedy. So yeah.
That's awesome. I like that. My husband is super funny and I love that. I love funny people. The people that are close to me and that I admire, that I don't care if they are, with all the respect, you are a doctor, but if they're a doctor, if they make 7 figures, you have to be funny. If it's not funny, that's it. I will just, I'm a snob for funny people. I don't know. I think life is too short, and I have the tendency to be super intellectual. And I spent my whole life studying psychology and I'm very sciencey in my mind. So I don't think I could be married to a guy like me. I'd kill the guy.
Right.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. And your kids, are they funny or they're more?
So our oldest is 12. And so she's starting to like go through puberty. Well, obviously she's going through puberty, but like she's got this, just like anybody who has a teen daughter, they can roast you so bad, but she at least does it in like a fun, like, it's like, because she's witty, she gets her like sarcasm and roasting out in a funny way instead of just being mean. But like, she will make you question. Yeah, no, she's funny. She's funny, but like in a teenage girl kind of way, where you're like, I'm gonna laugh and assume that was a joke. Otherwise, I'm questioning my entire existence.
Are you? I know you have 2 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you planning to give them advice, prepare them, kind of like about dating and relationships, and have you thought about that? Or
Yeah. So like with my 12-year-old, she's more reserved. She's more intellectual. She's like into robotics and archery and like math competitions. And some of her friends are more girly and just like kind of like how I was in high school. You just, and I've asked her, I said, like, does it bother you that your friends get more attention from boys than you do? Because they'll have like boys texting them and this or that. And she said, like, no, I don't think those are the kind of boys, like the kind of boys who are like shooting their shot and are like cocky at this age. She's like, I don't think those are really the kind of boys that I would like anyways. And I said, like, yeah, I have a feeling that your maturity, like the boys that are into you and see how cool you are probably not like the cocky jock who's like, I don't care, you can't hurt my feelings if you reject me. Like the boys who are probably into you at this stage are very easily rejected and can't imagine that somebody as cool as you would see anything in them. And so I said, like, as we start to get, she's not like boy crazy at all. But I said, like, as we start to have school dances and you get older, you know, if you start being bothered by the fact that like boys aren't asking you, I said, like, I can give you, like, you're probably going to have to make it very apparent to that boy that you want to ask you, that you will say yes and like not reject them type of thing. Cause they're going to be a little more of the like inwards, intellectual, cerebral type and stuff. And she's like, yeah, one day. And I was like, all right, sounds good.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's awesome. You're so awesome. You're amazing.
You're so sweet.
Well, you are, yeah, and I think it's important to say it when it's authentic, when it's really real, I believe in that, in telling people how great they are when they are. And if they're not that great, let's not say anything.
Yeah, we just don't say anything. Yeah.
We just move away.
Right.
Well, anyway, I promised I was going to keep you for 20 minutes. It has been 31 minutes. So I will just ask you one last question, if you don't mind.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
So if you had any advice for this, imagine your friends that are super successful and the boss babe and, and they are afraid, maybe they're afraid that they marrying somebody, a guy is going to come to their lives and take all their money or their independency, or, maybe they have given away their power before. A lot of women, they're very strong and successful, and then they meet a guy and they become this person that they don't even recognize because they're, it's all about the guy. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give them to inspire them to go after their dreams, that it is possible to have one or several successful business like you do? You also have friends, I would say. You have strong female friendships, which that's how we met, actually. Mm-hmm. So through a common friend. So that you can have it all. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you can. So what would you say?
I would say that just like you wouldn't have a fear of finding like your best friend, like you shouldn't have fear around a spouse coming into your life and making your life worse. Like when you find the right person, they are your best friend. You want to talk to them about everything. You want their advice on everything. You want like, well, what would you say to her? Like, you want that from them. And so if you find someone that like, I don't know, I can't even imagine being afraid. Like now that I'm on this side of it, like I can't imagine being afraid of having that relationship in my life because it really just kind of completes you.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Lauren.
Oh,
you are amazing. And when you're watching the replay, if you want to leave any messages for us, please, questions for Dr. Lauren or for me, where can they find you? Because I want them to really find you and take advantage of everything you give.
So I would say, so on Instagram, I'm at sheslays_the_day. And I have a podcast on Spotify and Apple, She Slays the Day podcast, like 302 episodes. They're long. We jam. We got so many different topics over there. But yeah, Instagram and the podcast are definitely the best one, or, sheslayspodcast.com can send you to either one.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure, for sure. Don't leave, okay?